What's up, fantasy fans, comic book fans, medievalists? Today I'm going to be bringing you another book haul because I cannot stop spending money on books, comics, manga, medieval fiction, fantasy fiction. I love the written word and graphic novels, and some people have like physical TBRs. They're like, okay, I have 87 unread books on my shelf. Mine is for sure triple digits. I'm never going to catch up. But here's some cool stuff I bought. All right, so first I want to talk about comics. Once I'm done with the comics, I'll do my fantasy books, and then I'll do special editions at the end, which is, let's face it, they're all broken binding. That company cooks. So I'll put timestamps at the bottom. That way you could go between comics, books. I know it seems like a large portion of my audience are not really that down with comics, and that's perfectly fine. This is a place you can come. If you like any of the stuff I do, you feel welcomed. Go to where you want to go on the timestamps. I'm perfectly fine with you mix it, but I'm going to start with comics. And first up, I'm going to start with a fantasy comic, Helen of Windhorn. I don't know a lot about this book. I know it has beautiful fantasy artwork. I mean, look at that. That is absolutely, the glare may be killing it, but this is a Dark Horse comic by my favorite writer, Tom King. It's arguably him or Alan Moore is my favorite comic book writer. He wrote Mr. Miracle, which is my favorite comic of all time, and this is giving me, it's the same artist from Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which I have not read yet, but I saw that they were doing another book together. I've heard nothing but amazing things about Supergirl, so I'm gonna check it out. All right, next up in comics, I have Daredevil Omnibus Volume 1 by Mark Waid. Naked hardcover. Looks a little something like this. This run was very criticized for being a little too fun-loving. I know Matt Murdock is known as this very dark and brooding character. A lot of people thought it was too fun. I think they moved him out to LA, which Matt is a very, Hell City is very integral. Hell's Kitchen is very integral to his character. So I know a lot of fans are upset by that. I'm always of the mind that I won't judge it until I read it. But this is definitely a polarizing one. Some view it as brilliant, some hate it. But we'll see. All right, so I'm doing this incredibly out of order. If you follow my channel at all, I just reviewed Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chang's Wonder Woman. Absolutely amazing series for any fans of Greek mythology. I thought it was like Percy Jackson grown up, right? Just with Diana Prince is now the daughter of Zeus instead of, an Amazonian form from clay. But it had that very, grown up Percy Jackson patternist War of the Gods type feel. If you want, you can check out my review on my channel if you want to see my opinions on that run. Spoiler alert, they're very high opinions of it. And so I was motivated. My love for that, I went to Reddit, I went online, I was like, what are the best runs? And everyone said to start with the George Perez run on Wonder Woman. It was between this and the Greg Rucka stuff, which I don't know really anything about either of them. Oh my gosh, this naked hardcover is absolutely brilliant. I am loving the mythology vibes, and I have a deep love for Wonder Woman because I enjoy mythology a ton, just like with Hellboy and all of its little incarnations of myth and folklore. I like how Wonder Woman is able to do a new spin on mythology, but with superhero antics kind of superimposed. Also, Wonder Woman, I'm very intrigued by the Tom King run. I want to get to that as well, where he kind of shows Wonder Woman as a beacon for the American way while being an American immigrant, and I think that is a great take on that character. My last comic book that I hauled, and the one I'm most excited for, is Jack Kirby's The Fourth World. Absolutely awesome. I love the cover on this one, and it has a naked hardcover. Jack Kirby's the creator of so many awesome characters, the Fantastic Four, a lot of the X-Men, I believe. He created a lot of characters with Stan Lee, and he designed most of those characters. Stan Lee was getting royalties for them. Jack Kirby was not, so Jack Kirby went to DC. This is not an attack on Stan Lee. I enjoy Stan Lee, but Jack Kirby was done a little dirty, so he went to DC and created the New Gods. This is Orion right here, the son of Darkseid. And this is where we first got Darkseid, Mr. Miracle, Orion, and I'm excited to get to it. All right, comics are done, and now we get to books. I'm going to start off with fantasy books because that's what I love. But I'm excited for all these books, even the non-fantasy ones. I have A Gamble of Gods by Mitriel Faywood. I followed her on Instagram after she was posting about the Mark Lawrence series that'll be coming out after the Library trilogy. I get romantasy vibes from this, but I kept looking at different reviews and a lot of reviewers that I respect said that this was fresh and this was well written and that the prose were beautiful. So I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, I just ordered this one recently and I'm excited to try another indie author. Okay, my next haul, and this is much to my shame because I did start Malice a long time ago, never finished it, loved it, but some things happened. I lost the book, I never finished it, so I reordered All of Faithful and the Fallen, and I believe it's Malice, Valor, Ruin, Wrath is the right order. I have his sequel trilogy. Oh, poor Malice, before I'd even opened it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get into John Gwynne this year. John Gwynne and Jay Kristoff are two authors that I really want to prioritize. Next up, I have a non-fantasy book, to my understanding. I'm not quite sure. Chain Gang All-Stars, which I'd seen, a lot of stellar reviews for this. And then I saw already Overbooked what mentioned it either in his TBR or I think it was his TBR, and I was like, you know what, that cover is fire. I want to see what this is about. I'll link already Overbooked in the description below. Yeah, so I'm excited to check that out. And that brings me to the special editions. So first up, we have M.R. Carey, which I believe he used to be a comic book writer. This is a medieval fantasy, or mayhaps not fantasy, just medieval fiction. I know nothing about this except that Broken Binding made a really cool edition. I will admit, much like the Anna Smith Spark and Michael R. Fletcher, it does seem a little ostentatious to have sprayed edges on so thin of a book, but I mean, it's beautiful and it's definitely going to be an awesome shelf piece, and I can't wait to read this bad boy. But the special editions that really blew my mind were the Hanged God trilogy. Book 1 is Northern Wrath, Book 2 is Shackled Fates, and Book 3 is The Slaughtered Gods. Yeah, I absolutely love these Broken Binding cover arts. I'm very excited to read this series. I recently shared it on my Instagram. You can find my Instagram. I'll link it below, or I'll put it somewhere on the screen. Still figuring out all the little minutiae of editing, but I shared it on my Instagram with some aesthetic flowers and some aesthetic plants. The author actually shared my post, and that was really cool. That kind of made me want to read this even more. I don't know which on this haul I'll be reading first. Probably Helen of Winterhorn because it's so short and it's Tom King. But yeah, that's my book haul, and yeah, there will probably be another one shortly, just as big and just as massive because I have a spending problem. Peace.